In a previously released video, titled Greiner Growth Model, Part 1, we discussed the 5 dimensions of organizational maturity. If you haven't yet, we highly recommend watching that video first. We have added a link to that video in the description. As a reminder, these 5 dimensions are the following: 1. Age of the organization. 2. Size of the organization. 3. Stages of evolution. 4. Stages of revolution. And 5. Growth rate of the industry. These 5 key dimensions for developing an organizational maturity model are depicted on the PowerPoint slide. In this video, we will explore the Greiner growth model further. The Greiner growth model defines 5 stages of growth. From youngest to most mature, the organization achieves growth through creativity, direction, delegation, coordination, and finally collaboration. As we will soon discuss, at the end of each stage, there is a crisis, which provides the impetus for the following stage, if the organization successfully survives the crisis. As such, each stage is at once a result of the previous stage and a cause for the next stage. This PowerPoint slide provides a great snapshot of how each stage of growth maturity differs, based on various organizational practices, for example, strategic focus, management style, organizational structure, etc. From this, we can see clearly how the same strategies and management approaches cannot be easily applied from one stage to the next. Having a clear understanding of these nuances at each stage is critical to strategy development and for anticipating growing pains. Let's delve a bit deeper into each stage. The first stage strives to achieve growth through creativity. In the organization's inception, growth is driven by the creativity of the founders and early employees. When an organization is formed in its startup, the emphasis is on creating both a product and a market. All the individualistic and creative activities are essential for a company to get off the ground. However, as the organization grows, those very creative activities become the source of problems. The company's founders find themselves burdened with unwanted management responsibilities. They long for the good old days, and try to act as they did in the past, when the organization was in a much less mature state. As conflicts among leaders emerge and grow more intense, a crisis of leadership emerges. This crisis represents the first critical choice in an organization's development. Can we locate and install a strong business manager who is acceptable to the founders, one who can pull the organization together? In this next stage, growth is driven by direction set by a more capable, directive leader. Those organizations that survive the first phase by installing a capable business manager usually continue forth on a period of sustained growth under this new leadership. It is very possible that the startup founder can also remain the leader, but we must recognize the situation when this is not the case and the organization has outgrown its founder's managerial capabilities and style. The new directive techniques channel employees' energy more efficiently into growth. However, eventually, again, this method of management becomes inappropriate for controlling a more diverse and complex organization. This results in the crisis of autonomy. In the third stage, we move from a centralized to decentralized organization. Now, growth is through delegation. This stage allows companies to expand by means of the heightened motivation of managers at lower levels. Managers in decentralized organizations, who have greater authority and incentives, are able to penetrate larger markets, respond faster to customers, and develop new products. Eventually, top-level management realize they are losing control over such a highly diversified field operational structure. Autonomous field managers prefer to run their own shows without coordinating plans, budgets, technology, and personnel with the rest of the organization. The organization thus falls into a crisis of control. At the fourth stage, we have growth through coordination. In this stage, formalized systems, procedures, and programs are implemented. Unfortunately, eventually, the many systems and programs introduced begin to exceed their usefulness. This leads to the crisis of red tape. At the final stage, we experience growth through collaboration. Whereas the previous stage was managed through formal systems and procedures, the fifth and most mature stage emphasizes spontaneity in management action through teams and the skillful confrontation of interpersonal differences. This stage sees collaboration across the organization. Now, we have a more flexible and behavioral approach to management. The crisis of internal growth emerges from the psychological saturation of employees who grow emotionally and physically exhausted from the intensity of teamwork and the heavy pressure for innovative solutions. So, at what stage of growth is your organization at? Can you see the impending crisis emerging? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Do you want to learn about these stages of growth in much greater depth? For more information about the Greiner growth model, we have linked to a presentation framework in the description. Furthermore, in the video description below, we have included links to frameworks on all the key management concepts discussed in this video. If you are interested in becoming an expert on strategy, take a look at our offering called the Strategy Development Stream. This is a collection of over 65 best practice frameworks covering all aspects and phases of strategy. It also includes the Greiner growth model. Our frameworks are based on the thought leadership of leading consulting firms, academics, and recognized subject matter experts. Links to our relevant offerings are in the description. For effective strategy development and strategic planning, we must master both strategy and tactics. Our frameworks cover all phases of strategy, from strategy design and formulation to strategy deployment and execution, as well as all levels of strategy. From corporate strategy to business strategy to tactical strategy. Many of these methodologies are authored by global strategy consulting firms and have been successfully implemented at their Fortune 100 client organizations. We have included links to all frameworks referenced in this video in the video description. If you have any questions, please leave them as comments below. If you enjoy these types of videos on business frameworks, methodologies, and management models, then be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Also, check out Flevy.com directly for thousands of best practice business frameworks and tools. We regularly publish videos like this one across a multitude of strategic management topics, from crisis management to innovation to strategic management.